Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this tutorial we look at video evidence requirements for return to industry and upgrading instructors enrolled with Watto Training RTO 40791 for the qualification TLI 41318. The TLI 41318 is the Certificate for in Transport and Logistics, Road Transport, Heavy Vehicle Driving Instruction. There are 13 core units represented on the left of screen, and there is one industry elective unit which takes the total to 14. Applicants would choose the industry elective that represents the class of license for which they were eligible to be instructing. Assessment conditions. The source, training.gov.au. As a minimum, assessors must satisfy applicable regulatory requirements, which include requirements in the standards for registered training organisations current at the time of assessment. Final assessment must occur in a heavy vehicle typical of the class that is used in industry and on a variety of road conditions, e.g. heavy vehicle type, LR, MR, HR, HC or MC, as well as transmission type needs to be considered, automatic, synchromesh or non-synchromesh. Assessment processes and techniques must be appropriate to the language, literacy and numeracy requirements of the work being performed and the needs of the candidate. So if you want to be collecting video evidence to be an MC instructor, you need to use a vehicle which is actually an MC. You can't use a HR, like just a prime mover, and get signed off for an MC, for example. This pathway relates to upgrading certificate instructors and or return to industry instructors with qualifications such as TLI 41317, TLI 41310 and TLI 41316. Applicants need to present their certificate as well as compile an RPL kit to gain this qualification pathway as well as complete the gap assignments. Queensland Transport Main Roads requirements. TMR currently recognises the following certificates for driver training accreditation: TLI 41316 and TLI 41318. An instructor may have an older certificate, but if they do not let their accreditation lapse, that means they pay their annual fee every year, they can still roll the old qualification over without requiring a certificate upgrade. To inform a judgment about whether a learner has achieved competency, a registered training organisation must gather a range of evidence of the learner's competence. This evidence is gathered from a variety of sources in accordance with the RTO strategy for training and assessment. The evidence is then assessed to determine whether an individual can perform to the standard expected in the workplace as expressed in the relevant endorsed unit of competency or module. And you'll note down the bottom left of screen that the source of information for these particular slides is the ASQA website. So we are bound by the standards for RTOs, as you would have seen on the other slide, and ASQA is our authority that audits the RTOs. So I've directly taken this information from their site so that we make sure that we are compliant. Assessment of evidence and judgment about competency must be undertaken by a person who meets the specific requirements for an assessor in the Standards of Registered Training Organisations, RTOs 2015. Now, we've got separate YouTube tutorials on those assessor requirements, so I won't go into those specifically now. In some cases, an assessor cannot directly gather all the required evidence that supports a competency judgment. In these cases, the evidence may be gathered or reported by other people. This type of evidence is categorised as supplementary evidence. What is evidence? Evidence is information which, when matched against a unit of competency or module, provides proof of competency. Evidence can take many forms and be gathered from a number of sources. Evidence can be categorized as direct, indirect, or supplementary. Direct evidence is evidence that can be observed or witnessed by the assessor. This could include observation of workplace performance, oral questioning, demonstration, challenge test. Indirect evidence is evidence of a candidate's work that can be reviewed or examined by the assessor. This could include finished products, written assignments or tests, a portfolio of previous work performed. Supplementary evidence is additional evidence presented to assessors to support a candidate's claim for competence. This includes reports from supervisors, colleagues and/or clients, testimonials from employers, work diaries, evidence of training. Is there a hierarchy of evidence? Now, just to summarize that means, is some evidence more important or have a heavier weight than others? It is important to understand that when it comes to assessment, there is no hierarchy of evidence. While training packages and accredited courses describe the outcomes of assessment and provide advice about the scope and context for assessment, neither the standards for RTOs 2015 nor training product guidelines prescribed exactly what type of evidence or how much evidence must be collected. Rather, the RTO must reach an appropriate balance and ensure that overall the evidence collected meets the rules of evidence. This includes validity, sufficiency, currency, and authenticity. Validity. This is the evidence presented. The evidence presented demonstrates the learner has the skills, knowledge, and attributes as described in the module or unit of competency and associated assessment requirements. Sufficiency. The quality, quantity, and relevance of evidence presented enables a judgment to be made of a learner's competency. Currency. The evidence presented is from either the present or the very recent past. Authenticity. The evidence presented for assessment is the learner's own work. Quality of all evidence collected. Now this is the kicker. It is the quality of all evidence collected, including any supplementary evidence collected by another party, that is important to making a sound judgment about competence, rather than the quantity, type, and form of evidence, where it was collected or who collected it. When and why might an assessor use other parties to collect evidence? Involving another party in the collection of evidence allows assessors to gather authentic and valid evidence in difficult circumstances in a cost-effective way. It is common to use another party for evidence gathering in cases where workplace evidence is required, but where it is not possible for the assessor to directly observe the learner at work. Apologies, I should have said earlier, when this talks about learner, it talks about training instructors. It's not talking about learner drivers. You know, this is an instructor course, not a learner driver course. So just to clarify. Examples. For example, in cases where the presence of an observer may compromise workplace safety, or where work activities involve issues of patient confidentiality and privacy, the use of other people in collecting evidence is also a valuable strategy for collecting evidence of everyday performance rather than performance carried out as part of the formal assessment process. What do I use? On the left, you've got a picture of an iPhone sitting in a little cradle that you can tighten up, and a suction cup on the back, which I connect either to the front windscreen or to the side window, depending on what type of evidence I'm collecting. So that's just a screenshot I've taken of myself with the camera set up doing those YouTube training videos that I've made on my channel. How do I record a video on my iPhone? Now I'm aware that some of you don't use the same iPhone that I'm using, or a different, Android or whatever, but I'm just giving you this as a starting point and a guide. You'll notice that I've done a screenshot on the right there of what's on my phone with a little car. Down the bottom, we choose video mode, tap the record button, the little red circle, or press the volume button to start recording. While recording, you can do the following. Press the white shutter button to snap a still photo. Pinch the screen to zoom in and out. Tap the record button or press either volume button to stop recording. Now it goes on there about frames per second. That might be something you're interested or not in about, but it does make a note down the bottom. The faster the frame rate and the higher the resolution, the larger the resulting video file, which can be a concern for some people trying to send them. Okay, here's a demo of a video recording I'll just press play down the bottom here. So I just got the mobile phone and made this to demonstrate using the technique shown on the previous page. Oops, we didn't want to see it again. Okay, here's another video that I took, and this is not a good video. My purposes for doing this weren't training. I was more getting the cornering line of the truck. But if you were to send me evidence of your ability to instruct, I don't know who is driving or who is teaching in this case, because it's just a random truck going past. So it's essential when we're collecting video evidence that we actually need to see that the training instructor is the one who is performing, because that's the quality of evidence that we're talking about. Photos as well. Gee, anyone can stand in front of a truck, or anyone can hold an electric guitar and say they can play it. But in this case, I'll just push play, you can see what I mean. So here comes the truck, no idea who's driving, no idea who's training. Okay, so once I've collected the video, sending the video from my iPhone to my computer. So on the right, I've got a screenshot of the little toy car that I took the video of. And you'll see down the bottom, I notice on one of my phones it's down the bottom left and another it's top right, but that's the symbol to look for. Press that button, choose AIRDROP, bottom left, to send it to your computer or your iPad or someone else's phone nearby. Select the device you want to send the video to. So nearby I had my, my laptop, my iPad and my second phone. So I just pushed the button on the device that I wanted to send it to via AIRDROP. And then at the top right of my computer, a notification appeared allowing me to open the video, or it could be a picture. You know, if you want to take some photos of evidence, then send it. So I just clicked on open, and away we went. So how did I learn how to do this? I wouldn't rate myself as highly technical at all. So simple. I went onto YouTube and just watched lots of videos so I could learn how to use my equipment. So I would encourage all of you that it is a wonderful source of education. Okay, let's have a look a bit more closely now at the sort of evidence that we're requiring for these videos for the evidence collection. There are two parts to collecting the video, part A and part B. Part A is the candidate in the driver's seat, and part B is the candidate in the instructor's seat. So part one, just a quick walk around the vehicle, external checks of the vehicle. And it says under the bonnet there, but basically what we're wanting is check the vehicle with a 360 walk around. If you've got a trailer as well, walk around that quickly and show us what you check. And just a quick visual check. Also, if it's a vehicle where you have to tilt the cab, look, I don't mind if you do or you don't on that one. That's not a deal breaker. If you do, great. But we're probably putting more weight towards your commentary driving and your instructional skills for this upgrade. So just show us that you've got the capability of checking the vehicle safe. Part two, commentary drive, applicant as driver. We want you to cover operational skills, hazard recognition and decision-making skills, a number of specific driving situations, roundabouts, traffic lights, etc., and manoeuvres. Depends on what class as to which manoeuvres are required. You won't have to do uncouple, recouple, for example, for a medium rigid. Part B, this is when you're instructing. You're going to need to find a learner. It doesn't have to be a learner. It can just be any person who's happy to play the role of a learner and let you instruct them. They don't have to drive badly or dangerously or anything. Your instructional technique is the thing that we're looking at. So here again, you're instructing on operational skills and hazard recognition and decision-making skills. So they'll be driving and you'll be instructing basically. So for part A, I've just broken down the list of some of the pre-drive checks that people would normally do, plus the cabin drill. I can send you a PDF of all this information as well, but you can pause the screen as well if you want to go through those. Part two, the commentary drive. Commentary drive, we watch sport all the time and there are commentators. This is the same thing. You're observing what's happening, and when you observe something, it might be like a dangerous situation up ahead in the traffic, how you respond to that safely. Then we've got operational skills. So talk us through your driving techniques, your steering, clutch control if you're in a manual, braking techniques, your road position. But we also want your defensive driving skills. That is hazard recognition, decision making. So observation scanning, blind spot management, mirror checks, signaling, and so on. Part 2.3 is all of your specific driving situations. So just give us a really good mix of all of the driving situations that a driver would encounter. Left turns, right turns, roundabouts, traffic lights. If you're near a level crossing, a school zone, high-speed merge, etc. So I've just listed all those off: stop sign, giveaway sign. And then we've got maneuvers. And again, this depends. It says 20 minutes there, but a lot of it will depend if you're in a HC or an MC class and you need to do an uncouple, recouple. So if you don't, we've got hill start, gear changing. Oh, it says if in automatic car, but it should say in automatic it's just a click down through the gears. It'll depend on the transmission of the vehicle. So again, if you're not sure on that one, just contact me and tell me what sort of transmission you've got. 2.4.3, reverse in a straight line, and uncouple, recouple. Now we've got a reverse around the corner as well in the LR, MR, HR. So there's the criteria which you can go through. Now it's Queensland Transport's criteria for Q-Safe. So if you're in other states or territories, this isn't specific to you. And here's our reversing exercise, LR, MR, HR, and I just put a little simple diagram. So diagram number 1 shows reversing around the corner, and diagram number 2, which is rarely assessed at Queensland Transport, is, but still in the Q-Safe manual, is a reversing across the corner. Okay, uncoupling a HC vehicle. Again, I'll send you this criteria, but this is Queensland Transport's requirements for uncoupling a HC vehicle, and this is their requirements for recoupling for a HC vehicle. So we line up that. Now, if you're doing MC, you can follow this same procedure here as well and show us that you've got those skill sets. Okay, then from the instructor seat, it'll take probably about 12 to 14 minutes worth of video. Include some of your instructional techniques on operational skills. So you've got your driver, guide them on their steering, guide them on their road position, guide them on their mirror checks, watch their signaling, their give way at different situations like roundabouts and T-sections, their safety margins. You might, for example, pass a cyclist, bike lanes, those types of things. So go to town on that for about 12 to 14 minutes and give us a range of specific driving situations as well as you go. I've just finally added in there a checklist which is mapped to the competencies. So we're going to be looking for verbal and non-verbal communication skills, obeying road rules, but also promoting and identifying road rules. So for example, if you're showing us that you're seeing speed signs up ahead, monitoring that with your driver, time management skills, safety skills, making sure everything's kept safe. That's a really big priority, managing your risk. Your interpersonal skills, showing us that you can instruct in a very proactive, positive, friendly manner. Now, I've got a dot point there, manage a group. That's going to be less likely unless you gather a group together. So, but that's out of the competency. Observation skills over on the far right there. So observing your learner driver, giving them feedback, and reflection skills, ask them how they're going, how you think you're improving, etc. That's a really good guide there for Part B. Okay, so just to summarize, are we looking for Steven Spielberg standard video? No. What we're looking for is for you to provide that quality evidence of your ability to drive, to conduct a safety check, a pre-start check, to perform the maneuvers, to explain what you're doing. And then secondly, to show us your instructional skills. For a returning instructor or an upgrading instructor, these should be skill sets that people are capable of doing. I'd encourage you to practice. Go out, get the vehicle of your choice, go out and do a run through. And the beauty of the video evidence too is if you don't get it right, stop the video, set it all up again and go. On most videos that I make, I've made them multiple times before I've settle on what I've done. So perfection is not what we're looking for, but competency is a requirement. Make sure we can see what you're doing, make sure we can hear what you're doing, try and keep the camera nice and still. You don't need to go out and buy a video studio to do this, but once you overcome those basic initial technical challenges, we can then go from there. I'll keep producing videos to assist you with this pathway, but so far it's been highly successful for the people who have gone down this path. So good luck, happy instructing, and looking forward to seeing some great training videos. Finally, just to reassure you, all videos are kept confidential and private. None of them are released to the public or put on social media or shown to clients or anything like that. So don't feel embarrassed or shy or concerned or anything like that. If you have any questions, just go to the Watto training website to get the details, and thank you for tuning into this video.